Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at someone truly monumental, not just the greatest boxer.
Absolutely. We're talking about Muhammad Ali,
Right.
a figure who really reshaped culture.
Yeah, his impact went way beyond the ring. Politics, religion, race. He was right in the middle of it all, a transformative figure.
He really was. And calling him just an athlete, it kind of misses the point, doesn't it? The sheer scope of his life is incredible.
It is. He forced people to think about celebrity, about dissent, identity,
Yeah.
all of it.
So our goal today for you listening is to take a deep dive into the source material. We want to unpack the complexity of this man.
Right, from his beginnings in Kentucky, right up to being, well, arguably the most recognized person on the planet in the 20th century.
And we're going to trace those sometimes surprising links between how he fought in the ring, his faith, and that absolute refusal to just conform.
We'll cover the journey, Louisville roots, the boxing exile, becoming a three-time heavyweight champ, a global icon, all of it.
Okay, so where do we start? We have to understand the world that made him. He was born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., January 17th, 1942.
In Louisville, Kentucky. His dad painted signs, billboards. His mom worked as a domestic helper.
And the sources, they really zero in on a couple of key things from his childhood. Things that, tell you a lot about who he became.
First up, dyslexia. He struggled with reading, with writing. It wasn't diagnosed back then, of course.
No. And that difficulty, we'll see it pop up again later in a really significant way during his draft assessment.
And the second major factor, growing up under Jim Crow segregation. That harsh reality of the American South.
Definitely critical, constant humiliation. His mother, Odessa, talked about being denied service, even denied a drink of water at a store, just because they were black.
Imagine that. That constant daily reinforcement of being treated as less than. That was his backdrop.
It was. But the sources also highlight one specific event, a horrific national tragedy that really seemed to radicalize the young Clay.
You mean the murder of Emmett Till?
Exactly. 1955. 14-year-old boy murdered in Mississippi. Ali told his daughter later, nothing ever shook him up more than hearing about Till.
Wow. So that context, that systemic injustice, that's the bedrock for his later activism, right?
Yeah.
That refusal to accept the status quo.
Yeah, it was an anger, a fury that fueled him, an identity forged in that fire.
Okay, let's shift to his boxing career. That unlikely start. From Cassius Clay to the very controversial Louisville Lip.
Right. And the story starts, kind of funny actually, not in a boxing gym, but with a stolen bike.
His brand new bicycle. He was 12. Loved that bike.
And he was furious, crying, told a police officer he found Joey Martin that he was going to whoop whoever stole it.
And Martin, who also happened to be a boxing coach, basically said, well, you better learn how to fight first.
Smart advice, and he took to it immediately, learned fast.
Yeah, the sources talk about his incredible amateur record. Something like 100 wins, only 5 losses.
That's it. Culminating in the light heavyweight gold medal at the 1960 Rome Olympics. Pretty amazing start.
And then he turned pro almost straight away, October 1960.
Now, that Olympic medal, it brings us to one of the most famous, most powerful stories about Ali, the mythology around it.
Ah, the story about throwing it in the Ohio River.
Right. In his autobiography, he says he did it after coming back to Louisville, winning gold for his country, and then being refused service at a whites-only restaurant.
Said he fought a white gang afterward, then just chucked the medal in the river. A powerful symbol of disillusionment.
Hugely powerful. Like, here's your medal, America, but you won't even give me basic rights. But, we should say, the sources also note this story is disputed.
Yeah, biographer Thomas Hauser suggests he actually just lost the medal about a year later.
True. But the fact that the story caught on, that people believed he threw it away or felt he should have, that says everything about the time, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It captured his rebellious spirit, the injustice he faced. Whether it literally happened or not, it became part of his legend.
And he did eventually get a replacement medal. Remember that moment at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics when he lit the cauldron? Very emotional.
Watched by billions. Yeah. Okay, so he turns pro. The skills are obviously there. But the persona, that's developing fast too.
Oh, yeah. By late 63, he's 19-0. But he's already becoming the Louisville Lip loud, brash.
And where did that come from? The sources have a fascinating insight here. It wasn't just ego.
No, it was partly a business strategy, inspired by, of all things, professional wrestling.
Seriously?
Yeah. He met this wrestler, Gorgeous George Wagner, in Vegas back in '61. Flamboyant guy.
And Gorgeous George told him what?
Basically, start talking big, predict the rounds, be outrageous, because it'll draw crowds, some will come hoping you win.
And others will pay good money hoping to see you lose.
Exactly. Pure marketing. Ali got it immediately. Controversy creates cash.
So he embraced it. The rhymes, the predictions, the boasting. Big mouth and a bragger, as he called himself.
It set the stage for some real drama, even early on. And he wasn't invincible either. He had tough fights.
Right, he got knocked down by Sonny Banks. And by Henry Cooper in Britain, that was a close call. He rallied, won on cuts, but still.
And the sources point to that 1963 fight against Doug Jones as his toughest test before he became champion.
He won, but it was a grind, right? Unanimous decision, but the crowd actually booed him.
Yeah, they threw stuff in the ring. He looked exhausted, hadn't delivered the knockout he promised. Even Sonny Liston, watching somewhere else, supposedly joked he'd get locked up for murder if he fought Clay.
So these early fights, they showed the flash, the speed, but also that he could dig deep when things got rough. He had grit. Okay, so all that buildup leads us to February 1964, the title shot against Sonny Liston.
And this was huge. Liston was the champ, this intimidating figure, terrifying aura, known mob ties. Clay was a massive underdog, 8-to-1 odds against him.
It's overwhelming odds.
And the psychological warfare Ali waged beforehand. It was relentless, calling Liston the big ugly bear, saying he smells like a bear.
Turning the weigh-in into chaos, shouting, screaming.
Total theater. But interestingly, the sources say it wasn't all an act for Ali either. His own pulse rate apparently shot up to 120 at that weigh-in. Normal was like 54.
Wow. So he was feeling the pressure too. That line between performance and reality was kind of blurry.
Definitely. Then the fight starts. Liston comes out looking for that quick, brutal knockout everyone expected.
But Clay was just too fast, too mobile, dancing, moving, frustrating Liston.
Until the fourth round. Then, disaster nearly strikes.
The blinding incident.
Yeah. Suddenly, Clay can't see. Excruciating pain in his eyes. The general thinking is it was some kind of ointment from Liston's corner, maybe used on a cut, maybe put there deliberately.
And he panics, right. Tells his corner, Angelo Dundee, cut the gloves off. He wanted out.
He did, but Dundee refused. Shoved him back out there for the fifth, basically telling him, "This is the big one, kid. Run."
Just survive? And he did. Managed to get through the round.
And by the sixth, his vision started to clear. Sweat and tears washed out whatever was bothering him. Huge moment of trust in his corner and incredible resilience from Clay.
With his sight back, he started taking control again. Liston was looking tired, maybe frustrated.
And then Liston didn't come out for the seventh round. Said he had a shoulder injury. TKO victory for Clay. 22 years old.
The place must have erupted.
Oh, and Clay rushed to the press ringside, shouting those immortal lines. "Eat your words, I am the greatest, I shook up the world, I'm the prettiest thing that ever lived."
Incredible moment. Youngest fighter at the time to take the title from a reigning champ. A record that stood until Mike Tyson.
But the shaking up wasn't over, not by a long shot. What happened next really threw things into turmoil.
Right after the fight, practically. The big announcement.
Within days, he confirms the rumors. He's joined the Nation of Islam, the NOI, and he's changing his name. First to Cassius X.
And then officially to Muhammad Ali, which means one who is worthy of praise most high.
Talk about polarizing. This was a huge deal in 1964 America.
And the way he framed it, rejecting his birth name, calling Cassius Clay a slave name.
Yeah, he pointed out the original Cassius Marcellus Clay was a white abolitionist, sure, but also a slave owner. Ali said, "I don't have to be what you want me to be. I am Muhammad Ali, a free name."
That was a powerful act. Rejecting the white establishment, asserting his own identity, his own faith, right in the thick of the civil rights movement.
It absolutely was. But it also came with some difficult internal dynamics. He stayed loyal to the NOI leader, Elijah Muhammad.
Which meant splitting from Malcolm X, right?
Yeah.
Who had been his mentor.
Exactly. Malcolm X had just left the NOI weeks before Ali formally joined. It forced Ali to choose.
That must have been incredibly tough personally.
He admitted later it was one of his biggest regrets, turning his back on Malcolm. But at the time, Ali was forging his own path, his own identity.
And he wasn't quiet about it. That famous quote.
Oh, yeah. "I am America. I am the part you won't recognize. But get used to me. Black, confident, cocky, my name, not yours. My religion, not yours. My goals, my own. Get used to me." Audacious.
So he's Muhammad Ali now. Champion. Controversial figure. The second Liston fight in 65 was weird, wasn't it?
Very weird. Over in less than 2 minutes, that infamous phantom punch, Liston goes down. Stays down. Lots of people thought he took a dive. Maybe mob pressure, debts. Who knows?
Yeah, still debated today. But the real crucible for Ali, the thing that stripped him of everything and cemented his legacy as an activist, that was the Vietnam War draft.
Right, and the timeline here is important. Remember the dyslexia. Initially, he failed the Army's written test. Scored too low.
Which got him classified 1Y, unfit for service. That's when he made that famous crack.
Yeah, I said I was the greatest, not the smartest. Classic Ali.
But things changed. The war in Vietnam was escalating. They needed more bodies.
So early 1966, the Army lowers its standards, and suddenly, Ali's reclassified. 1A. Eligible for the draft.
This sets up the huge confrontation.
It really does. This is where his identity, his faith, his politics all converge. April 28, 1967, Induction Center in Houston.
They call his name.
3 times. And 3 times, Muhammad Ali refuses to step forward.
On what grounds?
He cited his religious beliefs as a minister in the Nation of Islam, said war was against the teachings of the Quran, and he also stated ethical opposition to that specific war, claimed conscientious objector status.
A conscientious objector, or CO, being someone whose beliefs stopped them from serving in the military.
Precisely. And his statement that day, it just echoed across the country, especially within the civil rights and anti-war movement.
It's a famous one. Why should they ask me to put on a uniform and go 10,000 miles from home and drop bombs and bullets on brown people in Vietnam while so-called Negro people in Louisville are treated like dogs?
And denied simple human rights.
Yeah. It cut right to the heart of the hypocrisy many felt, fighting for freedom overseas when Black Americans didn't have it at home.
There's also that other quote, the really blunt one. No Viet Cong ever called me the N-word. Those sources say that might be apocryphal.
It probably is apocryphal, yeah. But it stuck because it captured the sentiment so perfectly it became part of the narrative he represented.
The reaction from the establishment was swift and brutal. Immediate. Arrested same day. Stripped of his WBA title. Boxing license suspended by New York. Within months, convicted of draft evasion.
Sentence.
5 years in prison, $10,000 fine. He stayed out on bail while appealing, but professionally he was finished. For the moment.
He went from world champion to, a lot of people hated him for that stance.
Oh, absolutely. You could argue he became the most hated man in America for a time. But, crucially, his stand also galvanized support, especially among Black athletes.
You're talking about the Cleveland Summit.
Exactly. June 67. Jim Brown, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, then Lou Alcindor, these huge stars, met with Ali. They questioned him, grilled him about his beliefs, the NOI.
But ultimately, they backed him publicly.
They did. A landmark moment. That
Yeah.
kind of public solidarity from professional athletes was basically unheard of back then.
So he's exiled from boxing for over 3 years. What does he do?
He speaks. He became a really popular speaker on college campuses, talking about racial justice, Black pride, the war. He kept his voice out there, earned a living doing it.
And meanwhile, the government wasn't just ignoring him.
Far from it. The sources show he was under intense, illegal surveillance. The NSA had this secret program called Minaret, intercepting his communications.
And the FBI.
Their COINTELPRO operations targeted him heavily.
Remind us what COINTELPRO was.
COINTELPRO counterintelligence program. It was the FBI's covert, often illegal, operations to spy on, infiltrate, disrupt, and discredit domestic groups they saw as subversive, civil rights groups, anti-war activists. Ali was definitely on their list.
They even dug into his elementary school records, apparently. Shows how threatened they felt by his dissent.
It really does. But the legal fight kept going, all the way to the top.
The Supreme Court, 1971, Clay v. United States.
And they overturned his conviction. Unanimously, 8-0.
So, victory, but on what grounds did they validate his religious objection?
See, that's the interesting part. No, not directly. The ruling was based on a technicality. The appeal board hadn't properly stated why it rejected his CO claim. There were potentially valid reasons, but they didn't specify which one applied.
So it was a procedural error, essentially, not a ruling on the substance of his beliefs or the NOI's teachings about war.
Exactly. The court kind of sidestepped the trickier First Amendment religious issues, focused on due process. But the practical effect was the same. Ali was cleared. He could fight again.
But what a cost. 3.5 years gone.
His prime years, Angelo Dundee, his trainer, said it perfectly. He was robbed of his best years. He was 25 when banned, almost 29 when he returned.
But return he did, 1970. And his comeback really kick-started what many call boxing's golden era.
It truly did. He got a license in Atlanta first, beat Jerry Quarry pretty quickly. Then Oscar Bonavina, in a tougher fight, stopped him late, 15th round TKO.
Setting the stage for the legendary rivalries. First up, Joe Frazier.
Their first fight, March 1971. Madison Square Garden, billed as the fight of the century, and it lived up to it. Both undefeated, global mega event.
Huge hype. Press passes, international broadcast.
And Ali, his Supreme Court appeal was actually still pending then. He just turned the psychological pressure way up.
This is where the Uncle Tom stuff came in, right? Really harsh trash talk against Frazier.
Brutal stuff. Call him ugly, dumb, a tool of the white establishment. Frazier's camp said it was deeply hurtful, especially because Frazier also came from poverty. Ali was positioning himself as the people's champ, while painting Frazier unfairly as the opposite.
How's the fight itself?
Incredible battle. Frazier just kept coming forward, relentless pressure. Ali took a lot of punishment. He actually started experimenting more with that tactic of leaning on the ropes, trying to weather the storm.
Kind of like an early version of the rope-a-dope.
Sorta, yeah. But Frazier was just too strong that night.
Yeah.
Final round, the 15th, Frazier lands this massive left hook, drops Ali. Ali got up, but the decision was clear. Unanimous for Frazier. Ali's first professional loss.
Must have been a shock. But he didn't just fade away.
No way. Stayed busy. There was even talk of a fight against Wilt Chamberlain, the basketball giant. Ali apparently psyched him out in an interview, yelling, "Timber!"
Classic Ali.
Yeah.
But he did have another real setback in 73.
Yep. Lost to Ken Norton. Broke his jaw in that fight. Another upset. Showed he wasn't invincible. He won the rematch. A split decision. Pretty controversial.
But that set up the second Frazier fight in 74.
Right. Ali looked sharper this time, stronger early on. Still a really intense fight, lots of clinching. But Ali got the win. Unanimous decision. Even the score with Frazier.
And that victory paved the way for maybe the most iconic fight ever.
You gotta be talking about the Rumble in the Jungle.
Kinshasa, Zaire, October 1974, against George Foreman.
Foreman was terrifying. Young, unbeaten, devastating power. He'd just destroyed Frazier and Norton in 2 rounds each. Ali was 32, seen as older, slower. A massive 4-1 underdog again.
Everyone thought Foreman would walk through him.
Pretty much. But Ali turned the whole event into a global spectacle. He connected with the people in Zaire. They were chanting, "Ali, Bomaye, Ali, kill him."
And the poetry, that pre-fight rhyme.
Legendary. I'd done wrestled with an alligator. I've done tussled with a whale, handcuffed lightning, thrown thunder in jail. Just pure, uncut Ali braggadocio.
Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
Incredible self-hype.
It wasn't just hype, though. It was psychological warfare. Building his own confidence, maybe planting doubt in Foreman's mind, and then, in the ring, the masterstroke.
The rope-a-dope. Explain how that worked. Why was it so genius, especially against Foreman?
Okay, so Foreman's big advantage was overwhelming power, especially early. He usually blew guys out in a few rounds. Ali knew he couldn't match that power, and maybe not the speed anymore either.
So conventional wisdom would be, stay away, use movement.
Exactly. But Ali did the opposite. From the second round, he went to the ropes, covered up, let Foreman tee off on him, leaned back, used the rope's elasticity to absorb the punches, clinched cleverly.
Deliberately letting the power puncher punch himself out.
Precisely. Foreman kept wailing away, mostly hitting Ali's arms or landing glancing blows. Ali was conserving energy. Foreman was expending massive amounts, getting more and more frustrated. Ali was whispering stuff to him in the clinches, too.
Like what? Foreman said later, Ali grabbed him in like the 7th round and whispered, "That all you got, George?" Just devastating psychologically.
Foreman must have been gassed.
Completely spent, physically, mentally. And Ali waited, watched him tire. Then in the 8th round, bang! Unleashed a quick combination. Foreman goes down in the center of the ring. Knockout.
Unbelievable upset. He'd done it again. Reclaimed the title.
And the world was watching. Estimated TV audience of 1 billion people. The biggest live broadcast audience ever at that time. Just staggering reach.
But the brutal trilogy with Frazier wasn't quite finished. One more to go.
The Thrilla in Manila. 1975. And if the Rumble was strategic genius, this was just savage warfare.
Set in the Philippines, right? Incredible heat.
Extreme heat, close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, just debilitating conditions. And the fight itself was punishing. Back and forth, brutal exchanges. Ali used the rope-a-dope again, lots of clinching. But Frazier just kept coming.
It went deep into the fight, didn't it?
Yeah. By the 13th, 14th rounds, Ali was landing heavily. Frazier's face was incredibly swollen, eyes closing up. A boxing writer called it target practice.
And Frazier's corner stopped it.
Eddie Futch, his legendary trainer, saw Frazier couldn't see, was taking terrible punishment. He stopped the fight before the 15th and final round. Ali wins by TKO. but he was utterly exhausted himself, collapsed after the announcement.
He said later that fight was the closest thing to dying he ever knew.
That's how brutal it was. A peak of courage and endurance for both men, but at a terrifying physical cost. Afterwards, Ali finally gave Frazier his due respect, calling him the greatest fighter of all times next to me. High praise, finally.
After Manila, you'd think retirement might be on the cards. He even considered it.
He did, but he kept fighting. And the next few years, frankly, showed a clear decline. Some controversial wins, like against Jimmy Young, Ken Norton again.
And this is when his longtime doctor, Freddie Pacheco, raised serious concerns, right?
Yes. He did. Pacheco saw signs of kidney damage, the toll the punishment was taking. He urged Ali to retire. When Ali refused, Pacheco quit the team in 1977. That's a really telling and sad detail.
Why did Ali keep going? Was it just the money?
Largely, yes, it seems. He had a huge entourage, an expensive lifestyle to maintain. Financial pressures were significant.
So he fights Leon Spinks in early '78. Spinks only had 7 pro fights.
And Spinks pulls off a huge upset, wins the title by split decision. Shocking loss for Ali.
But Ali being Ali, he demands a rematch.
Of course. Later that same year, 1978, in the New Orleans Superdome, Ali wins the rematch decisively by unanimous decision.
Making him the first man ever to win the heavyweight title 3 times. Another historic achievement.
It was. But honestly, that probably should have been the end. His skills were clearly eroding.
But it wasn't the end. He came back again for a 4th title attempt against his former sparring partner, Larry Holmes, in 1980.
And that fight was just painful to watch by all accounts. Holmes dominated a clearly diminished Ali. Angela Dundee had to stop the fight after the 10th round.
The only time Ali ever lost by stoppage.
The only time. And many people point to that Holmes fight as significantly worsening the neurological symptoms Ali was starting to show. The slurred speech, the trembling.
Sylvester Stallone was there, wasn't he? Said it was like watching an autopsy on a living man. Just brutal.
Awful. And incredibly, he fought one more time after that. Lost a decision to Trevor Berbick in the Bahamas in 1981. Then finally, permanent retirement.
And the diagnosis came just a few years later.
1984, Parkinson's syndrome. Now, Ali himself and his doctors often disputed the direct link to boxing trauma, but the general medical consensus and just common sense looking at his career suggests the cumulative effect of all those punches, especially late in his career, was a major contributing factor.
A tragic postscript to such a glorious but brutal career.
It truly is.
Even as his physical health declined, his spiritual journey continued to evolve, didn't it?
Yes, it did. He moved away from the Nation of Islam, which itself was changing after Elijah Muhammad's death. He embraced mainstream Sunni Islam.
Influenced by Waris-Din Muhammad, Elijah's son, who was leading reforms.
Exactly. This marked a shift towards a more universal message. Less separatist rhetoric, more focused on global peace and brotherhood. He made the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca twice.
And this broader spiritual outlook became really central to his public image in later years, especially after 9/11.
Absolutely critical moment. In a time of fear and suspicion towards Muslims, Ali, this globally beloved figure, stepped forward. He issued that powerful statement, "Islam is a religion of peace." He condemned the attackers as racist fanatics who didn't represent the true faith.
Using his immense platform for understanding and against prejudice.
He did a lot of humanitarian work, too, raised awareness for famine relief. And remember his trip to Iraq in 1990.
Before the first Gulf War, to negotiate the release of hostages.
Yeah, he met with Saddam Hussein, successfully secured the release of 15 American hostages. A remarkable piece of personal diplomacy.
Though not all his diplomatic efforts went smoothly. The sources mention a trip to Africa for President Carter in 1980.
Right, trying to get African nations to boycott the Moscow Olympics because of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. It wasn't universally well received.
Why not?
Well, some governments, like Tanzania's, apparently felt a bit insulted. Carter sent an athlete, a celebrity, to discuss a serious geopolitical issue. It highlighted that tension between Ali's immense cultural power and the formalities of state diplomacy.
Interesting nuance. Okay, shifting gears slightly, his cultural impact beyond boxing and politics. Hip-hop.
Yes, it's an angle people sometimes forget. The sources identify him as a genuine pioneer of hip-hop culture.
How so?
Think about his trash talk, the rhyming couplets, the boasting, the spoken word poetry he used constantly, that rhythmic, competitive language.
Like a rap?
Kind of, yeah. He even released albums, I'm the Greatest, in '63 was Grammy nominated. And that kid's album, The Adventures of Ali and His Gang versus Mr. Tooth Decay in '76.
So the argument is his style, that freestyle skill and braggadocio, it helped pave the way.
It legitimized that kind of verbal performance, especially for black men in the public eye. Rappers from Run DMC to Jay-Z have cited him as an influence. He showed words could be weapons, that rhyming could be competitive, theatrical, very influential for early MC culture.
Fascinating connection.
Hmm.
And other unique cultural moments.
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yep. Special guest referee at the very first WrestleMania in 1985. Huge pop culture moment.
And the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. That's unique too, isn't it?
It is. It's the only star mounted vertically on a wall.
Why?
At Ali's specific request, he didn't want his name Muhammad shared with the Prophet of Islam to be walked on, a testament to his unwavering faith right there on Hollywood Boulevard.
Wow. Okay, his later years? Parkinson's diagnosis. Did he retreat from public life?
Not entirely. He couldn't be the same physically, obviously, but he became a powerful symbol of resilience. He worked with Michael J. Fox, another high-profile figure with Parkinson's, to raise awareness and funds for research.
And his family life?
Yeah.
Complicated, with 4 marriages, 9 children.
Yes. And notably, his daughter Layla Ali became a successful professional boxer herself, which is interesting because Ali had previously spoken out against women's boxing.
Life comes full circle sometimes, in those final global moments.
Immense. Lighting the Olympic cauldron in Atlanta in 1996. Billions watching.
Yeah.
A truly goosebump-inducing moment, seeing him battle the tremors but still standing tall.
And his death in 2016, the outpouring of grief was global.
Absolutely. Septic shock. He was 74. His memorial service, broadcast worldwide, watched by another estimated billion people. It confirmed his status not just as an American icon, but a citizen of the world.
And his hometown, Louisville, they fully embrace him now.
They do. The airport renamed Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport in 2019, and the Muhammad Ali Center there, focusing on peace, social responsibility, keeping his deeper legacy alive.
So when you look back at the whole arc, Muhammad Ali, what's the enduring significance?
It's that duality, isn't it? World champion athlete, yes. But maybe his biggest impacts, his most lasting victories, came outside the ring, when he refused to compromise on his identity, his beliefs.
Changing his name.
Yeah.
Refusing the draft. Those weren't boxing moves, they were acts of personal conviction.
Exactly. And he turned those personal convictions into these huge global conversations about race, religion, war, and identity. He forced the world to engage.
What strikes me is that transformation from being, like you said, maybe the most hated man in America after refusing the draft, to becoming this universally beloved, almost sainted figure by the end, a UN messenger of peace. How does that happen?
Well, I think it speaks volumes about courage and maybe about time, too. His willingness to sacrifice everything, his title, his prime years, his income, mainstream approval for what he believed in, that stand gained incredible moral weight over the decades.
People came to respect the integrity, even if they disagreed initially.
I think so. He proved that an athlete or any public figure could actually be more powerful, more influential when they were stripped of the conventional trappings of success if they stood firm on principle. His greatest triumphs were arguably acts of defiance, not just knockouts.
So the final thought, maybe, is about that power of nonconformity, the power found in sacrifice.
Yeah, perhaps. That his ultimate claim to being the greatest wasn't just about boxing belts, but about the courage to be himself unapologetically, even when it cost him dearly. That's a profound legacy to consider, isn't it? What his journey tells us about conviction and its long arc.